Introduce Graham Elwood from Big Cypress Lodge. Take it away, my friend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very, very much for having me, especially as your first speaker of this class. Usually I tend to way overshoot our time limit, so today I'm going to try to fall a little bit short, and that way with some questions, a little Q&A at the end, we should be right on time. And I'm also going to leave a little bit of time because I'm interested in learning about all of you, especially those of you, like Mr. Rohn said, that are interested in working in hospitality. Because I have an ulterior motive when I come here. It's not just to share my experience with you, but it's also to do some recruiting and get some of the bright young hospitality talent of tomorrow involved with my company. So like you said, my name's Graham. I'm the front office manager at the Big Cypress Lodge, which is located in what building? Anybody?
The Bass Pro Pyramid.
Yeah, good job. How'd you guess that?
Oh, it might be the big thing there.
I
Wow.
got a couple of tickets to get up to the top of the lookout there for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Easy question, right? Bass Pro Pyramid. So I've been over at the Big Cypress Lodge now for just shy of 4 months. I'm pretty new over there. And as a matter of fact, when Mr. Rohn reached out to me about coming over to speak, I had to let him know, hey, I got a new email address, new company, new everything, because I just transitioned over from another hotel company. So first, let me tell you a little bit about my experience in hospitality thus far. So I started out studying, I first of all been in Memphis about 14 years, came from Chattanooga, born in New York originally. But I started off going to Southwest for my associates because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my professional life. So my major over there was just general studies, something that would get my general education credits out of the way. And then I could kind of zero in something when I got to the university. So then I came over to the University of Memphis. Guess what I studied? Good guess, but no. Studied theater. Yeah. Theater major, jazz minor, absolutely nothing to do with hospitality. I had no dreams of working in a hotel. I thought they were cool, but that was not the career path that I necessarily had planned out for myself. So I came to the University of Memphis for a couple of years for theater and jazz. And along the time while I was in school, I was working, worked the whole time in various jobs, worked for Banana Republic for about 4 years selling clothing and spending every dollar I ever made right back there in the store. I also worked for a volunteer position here at the University of Memphis, the Jazz Lover, the radio station, U92. I had a radio show there for about 4 years and tried to stay kind of active in entertainment. Got involved with the Mississippi River Kings hockey team, did some emceeing for them for a couple of seasons, got involved with the Redbirds as well, and also started hosting a trivia show on Tuesday nights that my wife and I actually keep going to this day, Flying Saucer Memphis downtown. But all along the way I was looking for kind of a permanent application for my skill set as I was kind of growing into my professional life. So my first real job out of college was a full-time position teaching ballroom dance for Fred Astaire, which was in Bartlett at the time. So I sold and taught dance lessons 40 hours a week, and then I also competed a little bit with my partner when we weren't teaching, and I did that for just a little bit shy of a year. Left the dance studio, was looking for other opportunities, and I happened to be basically in the right place, right time. This was one of those, God provided the right opportunity for me. I was on a back road late at night and pulled over to check on a car that was on the side of the road, and turns out it was one of the higher ups at the Peabody Hotel who was pulled over. I was looking for employment at the time, so we got to talking, and he said, hey, if I can help you with a job, please let me know. I said, well, yeah, that sounds pretty good, Peabody. I hadn't really thought of that. So I looked online, looked on their website, and I saw that they had a position open called concierge, or however you want to pronounce it here in the United States. And I thought that sounds pretty cool. So I knew that I wanted to be plugged into what was going on in the city of Memphis, because I really like the city. I wanted to stay active with the social scene, because, young guy, right? You want to have the hookups to the best restaurants, the best activities, nightlife. And so I applied and had one of the worst job interviews of my life. I was all clammy and kind of nervous, and told a joke that just punchline totally bombed. And despite all that, they hired me. So I started at concierge at the Peabody. Now that was a really cool first position getting into hotels, because that is really a central position for a lot of other departments. You're kind of a communicator with a lot of other departments in the hotel. So you're going to have guests that are coming up to you that are looking for assistance while they're staying there, and you've got to talk to other departments in the hotel and make sure that their requests are taken care of. So once a guest arrives and gets settled into a hotel, for those of you that don't know, a concierge is kind of going to take over with the social calendar, right? So once you get settled into your room, you go to the concierge and you say, okay, I've got 3 days in Memphis, what do I do? And it's your job to work with them, ask some questions, in just a few minutes' time, find out enough about them that you can program activities that'll keep them entertained for 2, 3, 4 days, that'll also kind of get them excited about the city. So I got to know a good bit about the downtown Memphis and started building relationships with other businesses downtown through that position. But at the same time, I got to kind of watch what front desk was doing, find out what was going on over there. The concierge service at the Peabody also has a club floor, so got my bartending license and got a little exposure to drink service, a little bit of food and beverage experience up there. You also have to serve some housekeeping purposes. Anytime somebody needs things delivered to the room, often you're the person that goes and retrieves those and delivers those items. So you really get plugged into just a lot of different facets of hotel. One thing that I didn't have as much experience in over there that I probably would have liked was sales, not with that position anyway. Now you'll get exposure to sales in a hotel in certain positions, but working front of house guest services, about the only exposure that I had to our sales department was when a client would come in and I was just kind of connecting them with the person they were there to meet. So I worked full time in the concierge department for about 6 months. Then I had an opportunity to take the most fun job I have ever worked in a hotel, and that was called VIP specialist. And that is something that not every hotel has, but the Peabody does. And so as VIP specialist, it's similar to concierge. You're still programming activities, you're still making sure the red carpet's rolled out for guests and they feel anticipated when they come in. But you're dealing with a smaller number of guests. You're focusing on those 6, 7 arrivals every day that would be considered VIPs. Now, of course, everybody that checks into your hotel is a VIP. They're all very important to you. But these would be people that were maybe heads of companies that brought a big group to the hotel, and we want to show our recognition for bringing the business there by giving them some special treatment. It could be politicians, heads of state, it could be celebrities. And a property like that, about once a week you had somebody coming through that you could easily recognize by their face from the news or from the music charts or entertainment. So that was a really cool position because that really lets you settle in, focus in on just sort of holding hands of a few people and walking them through an experience. One of my favorite weeks that I ever had doing that job was when we had this group come in from Chicago, and it was a multi-millionaire hedge fund manager, basically, that came in with he and his wife and 2 other couples, and they just wanted to experience Memphis. But they wanted somebody to literally be with them the entire time, except for sleeping, of course. So I devoted about 3 days and did nothing but them. So first we found out what time they were arriving, coming in on, of course, a private jet. Had a car ready to meet them. I rode with the car, greeted them when they got off the plane, got their luggage all loaded up, already had their keys to the room in the vehicle. So when they got to the hotel, they didn't even have to go by the front desk. Of course, everybody that was standing around the lobby at that time already knew their names, so they could be greeted by name as they walked into the hotel. Then immediately got them settled into their first dinner reservation. They never had to wait for anything. If they said, one time we were coming back from Shelby Farms, we'd taken them for a bike ride where we had bikes waiting for them when we got there. So they did a bike ride, and on the way back they said, hey, we found out you have this Peabody Select Single Barrel, this Jack Daniel's specialty drink that we really wanted to try. Can you send some up to the room when we get back, or maybe we can come down to the bar and try some? I said, yeah, no problem. So while we were in the car, I sent a quick text message to the room service manager, and by the time they got back, every one of them had a bottle, especially for them, waiting in their rooms when they got back. I mean, just little touches like that were so much fun to put together, because the impression that has on somebody is just over the top. I mean, that's really the kind of sentiment you want somebody to come away with staying in a hotel, is that they just feel like they were waited on hand and foot. Anything they wanted, we could pick up and could provide for them. So another position that I was involved in at the Peabody was concierge supervisor. So I started out in the concierge department, and even working with the VIP program, was still very plugged into what was going on with the concierge. And so the next step there was the concierge supervisor position. Usually those were two positions. I was able to kind of combine them and take care of duties from both. The pace of the day worked pretty well to do both of those. But the concierge supervisor position, that one allowed me to continue to work with the team that's interfacing with guests on a daily basis, but it also let me get to know people like your boss, right? Restaurant managers, other hotel managers. Anytime a guest says, hey, I need something, but it's not something we could provide in the hotel, I was able to develop relationships with people where I could go out and I could say, hey, I know you're totally booked up, it's a Saturday night, but I got this couple, it's their anniversary, and the guy was silly and he didn't make reservations, so can you bail him out? And they'll say, oh yeah, since we already have this relationship, we'll make a table happen for you. So little things like that that just kind of make things for the guest a little bit easier and ultimately look really good for your property too. Because then you begin to develop a reputation as a hotel that can get things done. So I spent another 2 years or so with the concierge department as the supervisor there. Then I had an opportunity to move to my first management position. That was a front desk manager at the Peabody. Now the way it works over there, it's a large enough organization that they have a team of front desk managers that work together. Then they have a director of front office above that, and then the director of operations, and then the general manager. So there's a lot of different tiers of management just because it's a pretty big organization. So what I did was I was a team of front desk managers, and anytime I was on property, I served as the manager on duty. So that's the person that basically has to represent the general manager or the owner of the hotel. Oh well, you know who I am.